What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is obviously part of a series where I focus on Academy Award Best Picture nominees from a certain year. Done such years in the past, such as 2000 all the way to 2012. And you guessed it, you clicked on this video. This time around, I'm focusing on the 2013 Academy Award Best Picture nominees and ranking them from worst to best. Now, just like 2009 to now 2013, they had it where they switched over from 5 nominees to 10 Best Picture nominees, or I should say the ability to have up to 10, but just like the year before, they had it where they said, you know what, we're going to have 9 Best Picture nominees, not 10. I know why. I mean, I didn't mention it in the last couple videos, and I apologize about that, but the reason being is because they switched the system and how they voted. They have preferential voting, and that's why they would have it where it would be like an odd number between like 8 to sometimes it would be like 9. But yeah, there were 9 Best Picture nominees for 2013, so I'll be ranking them from 9 being the worst to 1 being the best, and of course, my humble opinion. But guys, enough exposition. Let's get started. So, number 9, we have Dallas Buyers Club. I think that this is a rock solid film. Great makeup, great acting. It's got themes and messages that are very fascinating. It's overall a very well crafted film. I haven't revisited it, honestly, since it first came out, but I did quite like it. That's the nice thing about all these Best Picture nominees for this year. They all were solid to great. And Dallas Buyers Club just got the unlucky straw of being in the last place, but it is still a film I would definitely recommend, and that's why it's my number 9. Next up, my number 8 is Nebraska. So Nebraska I like a little bit more than Dallas Buyers Club. I think that it's got a lot of the same positives as Dallas Buyers Club, but the one nice thing that I liked a bit more is that Nebraska has a bit more style to it, a bit more directing kind of flair to it, if you will. Like the black and white color scheme is something that I found to be quite fascinating. I mean, especially in the year 2013, it's like you're shooting on black and white, or well, I should say I think they post converted to black and white, but nonetheless, it's still quite fascinating, and it definitely gives it that unique look to it. And I think that it's got a great lead performance. Bruce Dern's great. I like this film quite a bit. I haven't revisited it since it first came out, but I do quite like it, and that's why I like it. I like it a little bit more in Dallas Buyers Club, but yeah, it's my number 8. Next up, my number 7 is Philomena, which I did see in theaters, and I liked it, and I saw it once or twice on at the library, like library DVD, like several months after I saw it in theaters, and again, I liked it just as much seeing it on DVD. Have I seen it since? No. But still, I saw it 3 or 4 times, and I liked it. I liked this quite a bit. I think that the chemistry between the two leads, Judi Dench and Steve Coogan, is quite good. There's a lot of funny moments. It's a feel good movie, but it's also a film dealing with a lot of interesting themes that, truthfully, going into, I didn't know that it was going to tackle those themes. So I'm not going to say what they are, because I do think that if you don't know anything about this film going into it, there are going to be some surprises to be had. This is probably my favorite. Yeah, I would say probably my favorite film from the director, who's also the same director who did The Queen, which, if you saw my ranking video from 2006, you know that I wasn't the biggest fan of The Queen. But Philomena would definitely recommend, and yeah, it's my number 7. Next up, my number 6, we have American Hustle. This is a very, very entertaining film. I mean, holy cow. You can't help but get caught up with all of the performances at hand, the dialogue, the costume design, the makeup. It is just filmmaking flying on all cylinders. It is a really, really entertaining film. It's got a lot to say too, which is also nice. Some of the other David O. Russell movies I mentioned, such as like The Fighter, when I ranked that for 2010 ranking, I liked it, but I didn't get like a lot from it, or at least as much as American Hustle. But American Hustle has got a lot to say, and I do think that it's a film that if you haven't seen for some reason, I would definitely recommend it. It's quite good. That's it's my number 6. Next up, my number 5. My number 5 to 1. All these films I own on physical media. My number 5 is Captain Phillips. Wow, this is a great film. Love it, love it, love it. One of Paul Greengrass's best. The ending hits hard, really home. Like it's a hard hitting ending. It's really, really good. Tom Hanks is fantastic in this film. I absolutely loved his performance. I also think that the filmmaking, this is yet another example of shaky camera work that's done well. Paul Greengrass, though, he's the king of that, where he utilizes shaky camera work, but because it's his unique style and has, it actual have like focus and everything, there is definitely attention to that, and that's why it's something that feels more impactful than a movie that uses it and just doesn't really know how to. But Paul Greengrass, he does. It's very purposeful, great score. It's thrilling. It's very, very apparently historically accurate. Like if you actually look up the real life story, it's very historically accurate. A lot of attention to details with this film. It's really good. If you haven't done so already, would highly recommend you check this out. And that is why Captain Phillips is my number 5. Next up, my number 4 is The Wolf of Wall Street. This is the film that keeps on giving. I saw this film many years ago and I thought it was solid, but I couldn't really get it out of my head. And I revisited it when I first started dating my girlfriend, now wife. And I gotta say, each viewing, it gets better and better. I love The Wolf of Wall Street. I think it is a great combination of drama and comedy. It is hilarious. It's a very, very funny movie, but it also is a film that is very deceptive with its themes and messages. And I feel like a lot of people misinterpreted the themes and messages. But at the same time, those that are more cautious and more like viewers that are more like, I wouldn't say skeptical, but are more analytical, I should say, those are going to be the viewers that are really kind of be able to digest and really kind of break down the themes and messages of this film. But it is nice that it is a film that has a lot of mainstream appeal, even if it might have a misinterpretation to it, similar to like Fight Club, for instance. But nonetheless, Wolf of Wall Street, I quite liked. That's why I went on 4K, and yeah, that's why it's number 4. Next up, my number 3. This is a film I actually rewatched recently. My number 3 is Her. This is Spike Jonze. It's unfortunately the last film of his that we've seen. It's a decade later, and we haven't seen another Spike Jonze film. I need another Spike Jonze film now because Her is excellent. It is a masterpiece. It's a film that, similar to Wolf of Wall Street and some of these other entries, just each viewing, I find myself loving it more and more. And honestly, when I rewatched this film last week, that's when it really hit me on how this is a masterpiece. I think that the ending especially hits home, just with what the director is trying to hit home. And I think that the thing about this film also is just that it is very dialogue driven, and the dialogue is just so human. It feels very purposeful. It's got a great score. The cinematography makes it feel like a very lived in world. It's a film that also has a Joaquin Phoenix performance that is just excellent. I would highly urge you to watch this. It's not for everyone, but for more adventurous film goers or just film goers that are more open-minded, would definitely say to check this film out because it is excellent. And that is why it's my number 3. Next up, my number 2, this is Gravity. Gravity I love. I still remember seeing this in high school, seeing it twice in theaters, and I remember a lot of my fellow classmates were not a fan of Gravity, and I was a defender then, and I still am a defender. I love Gravity. I think that Gravity is 90 minutes of anxiety. It is very, very well done. You feel as though you're in the shoes of Sandra Bullock's character. You feel as though you're right there with her. The score is outstanding, the visual effects, the production design, the pacing. I mean, it's only 90 minutes. It flies by. It really does. And I also think that the ending is just so emotional. I like every time I watch it, I just find myself finding more and more things that I'm able to appreciate about this film. I get why some people might not like it because some people are like, oh, it's too simple or whatever. But here's the thing. Cuarón is known for having a simple premise, like his films have simple premises, but he builds on them. He has it where the filmmaking elevates it to such a degree where you're like, yeah, I love that film. Think Children of Men. It's a simple premise, right? But the actual execution is just masterfully done. Or Y Tu Mamá También. Films like those. Simple premises, but he knows how to build on them to a degree where you're like, yep, I love it. They're great. Gravity is no exception. It is a great film, and yeah, that's why I own it, and it's my number 2. Next up, my number 1. This is the film that is not only, in my eyes, the best of the Best Picture nominees, but was the Best Picture of 2013, and that is 12 Years a Slave. I think 12 Years a Slave is an incredible film, very, very hard-hitting. I do wish that I got to see this in theaters. I'll never forget when this film came out in theaters. I remember I wanted to see it in theaters, but I wasn't allowed to at the time, and I didn't have my license, so I couldn't really go and see it in theaters. So I had to actually watch it on a cracked iPod. But I loved it. I loved it when I saw it on a cracked iPod screen, and I liked rewatching it many, many times since. And I went from DVD to now obviously Blu-ray, and I think it's a great film. If you haven't done so already, I would highly recommend you check this film out. It is hard to watch for sure, but I do think that it's a necessity, similar to like Schindler's List. It's a film that I feel like everyone needs to watch at least once. I'm not gonna lie, the rewatchability value isn't as high as you might think. Well, I shouldn't say that. I feel like most people know the rewatchability value isn't gonna be that high, but I do think that every now and then it is a film that I'll think about and I'll say to myself, "Yeah, I need to watch it again," just as like a reminder. And when I watch it, it's always hard hitting, and I always find myself almost having tears at the end. It's great. It's a great film. Would highly recommend everyone check it out. And yeah, that's why it's my number one. But yeah, guys, that's my ranking of all the 2013 Academy Award Best Picture nominees. Let me know your ranking of said films down below. And guys, if you haven't done so already, don't forget the subscription, notification bell, follow me down on Letterboxd, and I will catch you guys later.